What's up, fellas? Welcome back to Culver Tools. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made this pipe. Originally, the plan was to make a much bigger pipe out of a cane. Had all the plans drawn up for it. I was going to cut it up into sections and then drill all the holes to kind of make the pipe channel and then put them all back together and fit them together with some plumbing fittings. And um, the bowl was another plumbing thing. But that project turned out to be a little bit too ambitious for my skill level. I ended up drilling through, just making a bad cut, I guess, on the end of the piece. So pretty much ruined the whole project. But I was left with these sections of the cane, um, pretty much just short pieces of dowel. So I figured why not just make a bunch of little pipes out of them. So this is one of them. I don't know what kind of wood it is, but it is cane wood, I guess. Small bowl, half-inch diameter. I don't know about the diameter of the channel and the mouthpiece, but smaller than half inch. Um, and then a little bit of leather wrapped around it for style, and then also because when I was shaving this down to size, they came kind of cracked through and was open at the back right here, so kind of covered that up a little bit, and hopefully it sealed it off so that no smoke comes through except for out the top and out the mouthpiece. So let's get into it. All right, so here I am in Fusion. Just going ahead and making a quick pipe in here for all you guys that maybe like, oh, how do you even make a pipe? It's really simple. It's just a block of wood with two holes in it, a big hole for the bowl. You're going to put your plant in there, and then the little hole is going to be longer, and that's the channel to draw the smoke out and actually smoke it. On this one, you'll see that the channel hole is a little bit higher than the bottom of the bowl. It's okay. It'll still work for the most part, but it's not ideal. You want the channel hole at the lowest point of the bowl so that you smoke out the bottom and you get all of it. So here now I'm just carving the general shape of the pipe. Um, you see I've already drilled the holes in it. I used a half-inch drill bit for the bowl, and then I think a quarter inch for the channel. So here I've already got all the shape roughly carved out. That took a while. You see, I changed my outfit. I think this was 2 days later, maybe more. Might have been across a weekend. But now I'm just using a Dremel to kind of rough out and I guess fine out some more of the shape and get a better profile on it. The shape of the pipe I was going for, I don't think I've seen before on any other pipe. The idea is that it would have kind of been a toothpick with a bowl in the not middle, but toward the top, and then there would still be a little bit of that sticking out. The final design looks similar to what I originally had in mind, but not quite. The tip is a little bit more rounded and blunt, but that's okay. I really like how it turned out. This whole process is for me, very time consuming. I don't have a bandsaw or something like that to just quickly get that general shape. It's all carving and dremeling and time consuming, just monotonous stuff. So here I got uncomfortable and decided to just sit back and work on the stool. Also, to get the workbench to stop being covered in sawdust. You'll see later when I move back to the bench, I set up a fan to blow the sawdust away from my face. I was breathing in a whole lot. Ooh, here's where I noticed that hole I was talking about in the wood that went into the channel. Part of the reason why I wanted to wrap it up with leather. Now I'm just sanding. I used 60 grit and went up to 320 grit. Keep going back and forth between the stool and the other area over there. That's where I keep all the sandpaper. Come on over here. I'm wiping on the workbench and setting it up for staining. So I didn't feel like going out and buying a new stain or whatever. I didn't really have a specific color that I wanted it to be. I just knew that I wanted it to be darker. So I grabbed this can of Kona stain and hoped that it would turn out as dark as it looks on the can. As you can tell now, it's not. I was a little bit disappointed. I'm not sure really how to pick stains. I've rarely had a stain that looks how it does on the can whenever I put it on the wood, but I guess that knowledge will come with time and experience. But I wasn't happy with this color, so I'm gonna end up going and getting another can. Here's the other can of old stain. I think this one is Jacobin. Not sure if that's exactly how you pronounce it, but It's more fun that way. You can already tell on the paper towel this one will be much better. And it is. It's just the typical staining process. Get some on the towel, or some people use a sponge or brush or whatever. For this, I'm just using paper towels, as you can see. Real easy. Wipe the stain on and then wipe all the excess off. Because it's a stain and not a paint, it's more of a dye, so it just seeps into the wood. If I were painting it, wouldn't want to wipe all of it off because then the paint would be gone. So that's why we use stain. Here I'm just trying to shine it up a little bit with a paper towel. I've seen a bunch of other people do this on their pipes. They stain them and then wipe them down with a microfiber cloth or some kind of cloth to kind of polish it up. I didn't really have a cloth near me, so I was just using a paper towel. And it's almost shiny. Here's some leather I got a while back. Originally, I got the big sheet of leather to make that sandbag you see in the background there, that blue duffel bag. Put the leather on the bottom of it. I tried to sew it on myself. It's that big rectangle cut out of this piece. I tried to sew it on myself, but my sewing skill is far less than my woodworking skill. And talking about my woodworking skill, I'm a novice at that. So I ended up having to go and get somebody that knew what they were doing, sew that leather onto the bottom of that bag for me, so I can have it reinforced, not worry about the bag tearing whenever I'm picking it up, throwing it. All the things you do when you work out with a sandbag. But right here, I'm just cutting off a strip of leather to wrap around the pipe. Um, I didn't know if I wanted to wrap around the whole length of the pipe, or wrap around just the head of the pipe, or just cover up that crack, that little hole that was revealed earlier. So I was just cutting a real thin piece. I figured maybe this is what I want, but I'm just kind of eyeballing it. And because this is my first time doing this, my eyeballs didn't serve me very well, so I ended up having to cut another piece. this piece was way too long. I decided I just wanted to have it right under the bowl and a little bit of the ways down the stem. That way, it's a nice little spot to put your fingers, and it also covers up that hole. Now I'm coming in with some mineral oil. This is just regular generic, or not generic, but some common cutting board oil. And giving that pipe one last rub down with this mineral oil before we put the leather on. Here I'm trying to figure out how I want to wrap it. I originally was gonna go with some kind of X pattern, but then I realized I don't know what I'm doing. So I just kind of wrapped it straight around. And then I was trying to figure out how to attach it to the pipe. And I was looking for some kind of little brass tack to put in it or some kind of brass piece to attach it because I thought that would look good. But I ended up just opting for Gorilla Glue. You see now I'm just putting a bead of Gorilla Glue all the way down the suede side of the leather. And I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it around. Smooth all of it out with my fingers. And there it is. And here it is up close. So there it is before the glue set. The flaps kept coming up, and I ended up doing some more work off camera. So yeah, that's how I made this pipe. I'm sorry that that last bit was mostly out of frame, but I just, as you saw, Gorilla glued this leather to the pipe, rubbed it all in. So there's a bunch of glue and stuff all over it, real tacky and everything. Um, these flaps ended up coming up a bunch, so I took those other two extra strips of leather and tied them down so that they would dry on the pipe and not just have two pieces kind of hanging off. When I took those off, though, they left behind some suede just sticking to the glue and sticking to the leather, and there was also a bunch of glue coming through the like spirals, I guess. And it's still there, you can see it, but I sanded all of that down. I took some fine grit sandpaper and just kind of took it along here to get it everything at least flush if the color wasn't gone. But yeah, I took all the big like chunks of glue off, and then that leftover suede that was stuck to it, and then I hit it with some of the cutting board oil that I used to rub the pipe. So, yep, that's how I made it. If you guys have any tips on leather wrapping or pipe making, I'm happy to hear it. You can go ahead and put those down in the comments. But yeah, if you like this content, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys next time.